Hey guys, Civilord here, back again with another action figure review, and a frog in my throat, apparently. But today, I'm going to be taking a look at the DC Multiverse, Dark Multiverse, yeah, that's not redundant, Batman Who Laughs, and Merciless Tupac, brought to us by the fine folks over at McFarlane Toys, as well as ye old Amazon, where I got this for about 55 bucks shipped to the door, because screw paying 80 bucks for a 2-pack, play the waiting game and get it cheaper. Yeah, basically exactly what we did with the Spectre and Atom Smasher 2-pack from yesterday, and I think I mentioned this 2-pack in that review. If not, well then, I didn't. So, with that being said, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all these guys have to offer in terms of accessories, which is not much. Starting off with the collectible trading cards. So these are collector edition trading cards, so I guess this is a collector edition 2-pack, like the Spectre and the Atom Smasher one. For the Merciless, we do get an alternate unhelmeted head. Kind of looks like gnarly Santa Claus, if you ask me. And then we get this big old honking sword, which I had to straighten out. There was a lot more work than this out of the package, but it's fine now. And in lieu of not getting hockey puck display stands we're used to seeing with all McFarlane Toys releases, we get this big ass record-sized base for all the Dark Knight's metal. You could put them all on this. In the middle of it's got the Batman Who Laughs face there. But yeah, this is a big chunk of plastic. A big old chunk of plastic that I will probably throw in a box and never see again. But I didn't buy this set for that. I actually bought it for, moving him out of the way, because he is just a variant, despite the fact he does have the new head. I bought it for this guy. This is a different take on the Batman Who Laughs. He's got a cape this time around. I don't have any with a cape. He's also got a crown this time around. So that's new. He's got the spikes going around his face still. It's always been a thing. He's got two open hands, but there are no wrappings on these, so that makes him different from the Sky Tyrant. So he's got different hands. And then he's got a different kind of overlay piece. It's just kind of armored. It's got like this little loincloth here. These little side plates. And on the back, he's got more of that loincloth action. So it's the same Batman Who Laughs as far as like the arms and the legs and the core go, but it's got a new overlay piece, new hands, a new head. It's different enough to own, I think. It's another step in the evolution of the character. That said, his torso, I do have mine, so it bends back and forth, like so. Which I never cared for torsos like this. You can also rotate it, but I'm not going to do that, just so it stays where it's supposed to be. But as far as the rest of his articulation goes, if I could talk, he's got a double ball peg in the head. Moves around just fine. Shoulders can pop out, back, down, rotate all the way around. He's got the beautiful butterfly. Bicep swivel, double elbow. Look, they used to not do egregious elbow joints. Isn't that funny? He's got ball hinge wrists, a rotate, hinge, and swivel with his sharp claws. Gee whiz. I already went over the torso, hips, kick out. Back down and kick forward, back. Does have a bit of a thigh swivel in there. Nothing crazy though. I tend to leave these legs kicked out one notch, just so he's not super enclosed there. He's got double knee. Look at that. Not too bad as far as a knee joint from this company goes. And then we do have the ball hinge ankles that will rotate, hinge back and forth, and pivot. And he's got toe joints, which are not the tightest things ever, but they're not the loosest either. But that is the Batman Who Laughs from the set. The reason I bought the set, or wanted the set, he's cool. I dig him, but, you know, collector edition, my foot. He should have had the extra hands, the weapons, or at the very least, you know, give him the cane with, like, the skull with the bat ears on it. That would have been a nice touch, because that's like one of the weapons we don't have for this guy. It would have been nice to get it here, especially since he's got the crown and stuff. Would have been the scepter, but it is what it is. It's a cool figure, nonetheless. I dig it. I always like a Batman Who Laughs figure, though. But I will say, out of the more traditional-looking ones, the best one is probably still the Mortal Kombat 11 one, or the 11. Not to be premature or nothing. If you're new to this channel, you'll find out why. But now we have the Merciless, who is just red. Nothing really new. They didn't update the legs, or anything for that matter. The toe joints still suck on this mold. These are not detinted. They are butter smooth, and that is bad. So if you have this guy, you might as well put Kiki's or super glue or something on there, because he is not going to stay up. I will say the torso feels a little tighter. Not so much in terms of the swivel, but the back and forth. The hips are very loose. At least compared to the Bath. I mean, there are detents there, but they're barely doing squat on both sides. And I can only assume that if this guy's like that, then most of them are like that. But plus side is his hips, or his thighs, plug in. Okay, I guess. Let me pivot those out. But, yeah, other than that, it is the collect-to-build figure. That is all it is. Which, I have to tell you, you know, the difference between a collect-to-build and a mega-fig, the collect-to-builds tend to be a little smaller. Yeah, they got some weight to them, they got some heft to them, they got some size to them, but they do tend to scale a little smaller. Granted, mega-figs have also shrunk in recent years, but collect-to-builds have never been that big. At least not to me, anyways. Maybe the King Shark one, but that's about it. We do have a double ball peg in the head, though, going over his articulation. This crazy Warduke helmet can move around. You do have to heat this up to pop it on. I had to heat up the other head to pop it off. His shoulder pads just kind of pop out. Not very tight either, but you can pop the arm up about this far, which is fine. You can get it up pretty far. Mind the spikes on the bicep there, those are sharp as hell. But of course you can rotate the arm around. He's got that beautiful butterfly rotator cap thing that does all it needs to do. Single joint elbow with a little bit of rotation in there. It's actually not hindered at all, but it's stiff, so be mindful of that. Ball hinge wrist, you can hinge, you can rotate up and down just fine, as well as rotate here. His torso can move that far forward, which is not very far, that far back, which is not very far, and rotate. But again, it doesn't feel as loose on this guy. It feels kind of smooth, but not loose. He's got a waist joint, but is it even worth it? I don't think so. Hips will kick in and out, but again, they're so loose, you're kind of like screwed. Forward and back's okay. That's a little bit more, especially this side. This side clicks like really well. This side not so much. But it is there. But yeah, the in and out's nothing to write home about on this guy. It's pretty flaccid. It's pretty weak. Definitely would suggest some joint stiffener on that. The knee, you can bend it back about that far. Straighten it back out. Click it back once so he can stand up. He's got swivel below the knee, and then he's got the ball hinge feet that will rotate, hinge, and pivot. Then, like I said, pretty loose toe joints. Not a bad release if you don't have this guy, but not as good as the Bath either. Or collectible, whatever you want to call it there. It's like he's tight in some places and loose in others. That's his whole thing. There you go. There he is. There's another pauldron back on. Yeah, his leg doesn't even want to sit in the neutral position. Because that stupid diaper. Yeah, I can get away with straightening his legs out, can I? Can I, or is it not happening? No, he wants to stay up, so I'm going to say I don't have to bend the knees. Had them bent before, but it doesn't look like I need to now, so whatever. But giving him his sword here. Just push it into his hand. It's not rocket science. I mean, again, Merciless is... Look at that. Freaking leg just... I was never into these legs. Like, at all. Specifically the feet. Because he just wants to topple over. That is this figure's biggest downfall, is that the feet are bad. If the feet didn't have toe joints, he'd probably stand up okay. He'd still be a little bit of a pain in the nuts to pose, but as far as standing goes, he'd be able to achieve it much easier. Batman Who Laughs is not that big a deal. He can stand up. But yeah, man, you can definitely tell that the molds are showing their age with this set. At least mine. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you got a Merciless with tighter hips than mine, but they're pretty flaccid on this guy. Before we wrap this up, let's bring in our two regulars. We got the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith. Right. Yeah. And the infamous 11th Spawn, who is not towering over everyone today because Merciless is a collectible figure after all. And Batman Who Laughs does have the little crown there. Even though that's technically cheating, we'll give it to him this time. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and if you've missed out on the many iterations of the Batman Who Laughs, hell, I think the Mortal Kombat 11 one might be on clearance somewhere, but at any rate, if you missed out on him, or better yet, the Merciless, whether it was the collectible or the pewter variant, then this 2-pack is a no-brainer. Especially if you're like me and like the Dark Knight's metal. Granted, Merciless is red and not blue, but if color's not a big deal to you and you just want the figures, this 2-pack is fine. It gets the job done. However, it does have its issues. For example, it's antiquated compared to McFarlane standards, especially modern McFarlane standards. This Merciless is not the most fun thing to pose, despite the fact that he looks freaking awesome. The Batman Who Laughs is more fun to pose, but still antiquated in some respects. So, if you're okay with that going into it, I would say, yeah, it's worth the 50 to 60 bucks that I paid to get it. Is it worth 80? Only if you're desperate and want the characters. Other than that, no, I wouldn't say it's worth that much. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, catch you guys later.